My loved one is refusing to get a diagnosis. What should I do?
A very common issue, again, in terms of going to, maybe someone can't even get the person to the GP or to a memory clinic. I think it's you as the relative seeking support from the GP or signposting to agencies who might be able to help you. For some people, it might be very obvious that this is going on. And again, a team might be able to come in and do a diagnosis. Some of the community mental health teams might be able to come in and do a diagnosis in a different way. But I think it's seeking help for yourself, getting information and advice for yourself, and broaching the subject a few times again and thinking, what is the refusal about? Asking the relative if they can answer. Again, it might be anxiety and fear, which is perfectly valid. So being able to talk through their fears and concerns, or what is actually leading to them refusing. Some people may say, I don't want to know. Okay, that will require a different response. So I think it's being able to meet the person where they're at, validating their fears, if there are fears, finding out why they're refusing, what's going on there, and then moving forward if you can together, but also seeking your own help, support and advice. Because even if they don't get a formal diagnosis, there's still a lot of supports that you can get for yourself.
Yeah.
So absolutely, I totally agree with you, Michelle, on this one. You really have to go back and discuss it again and again and again, until the person realizes, like, okay, it's something that I really have to do, and maybe explain to them why would they benefit from a diagnosis. And maybe discuss with them, what is the reason, like Michelle said, what is the reason that they are refusing? Probably it's like all this stigmatizing situation around dementia, but what is the real reason?
What I would highlight is that once you have a diagnosis, don't necessarily expect the sufferer to acknowledge that diagnosis. Don't think, okay, we've got a diagnosis, everything will be fine now. He or she will say, well, I suffer from dementia, and I need help. It's not going to happen.
And that's why, sometimes it's not necessary to go through, yes, you need a diagnosis to access care within reason, but there's ways of going about it as well.
Yeah.
And we do need to be respectful. This is a very lengthy process often to go through. It's very emotionally charged. So we need to work with the person in a very respectful way. And if someone really doesn't want that, again, there's ways to still support around and the family.
The diagnosis can be terribly helpful or even necessary to you as a carer, because it unlocks access to things like being able to act under power of attorney. It's absolutely essential if you're trying to do certain financial things and so on, because you need to be able to prove that you are acting properly in trying to take control. But as I say, don't expect the sufferer to recognise the diagnosis. As I think we've said before, they have their own worldview, they have their own narrative, and you have to accept that narrative and work within it.
Yeah. True.
As part of any assessment as well, before a diagnosis is even possible, pre-diagnostic counselling is essential. So really sitting down with the person and their family, exploring the implications of the assessment, the implications of the possible outcomes, because it really is important that people make an informed decision, that they are prepared to go through with this process. So again, we're looking at, yes, as a carer, you might need the diagnosis. There's certain problems with that too for certain things, but how do we work with the person themselves in terms of pacing this assessment process? And by and large, when I've done pre-diagnostic counselling with people and really spent the time to go through their fears and concerns, we can allay most of them. And then I don't think I've ever had anyone who hasn't gone through with the assessment. But a big burden for the relative, it shouldn't be the relative who has to force the person in for an assessment.
Yeah.
Again, going to the GP taking some of that onus on, and then the relevant clinics People have home visits. Lots of memory clinics do home
Yeah.
visits. Community mental health teams will do home visits. So how do we adapt and offer that flexibility around the person and around their family to try and, in a paced way, to do this within their own comfort zone?